Can you pass the healthy lungs test? Take a deep breath in 3, 2, 1. Did you pass?
This couple waited 9 years to open their wedding gift, but when they finally did, it changed their lives forever. Kathy and Brendan got a gift from their friend, but she told them not to open it until they got into their first fight. Over the years, they had many fights, and it even got to the point where they considered getting a divorce. But each time, they would eventually end up resolving it so they wouldn't have to open the gift. She said if it wasn't for the gift, they wouldn't still be together because it taught them to be patient and understand each other before caving in and opening it. But one day, they decided to finally open it, and you won't believe what they found inside of it. But before I tell you, I found this app that tells you your celebrity lookalike, and apparently I look like Zach King. Just press the button on my profile to try it for yourself and let me know in the comments who you get. In the gifts, they found wine glasses, cash, and 2 notes. One note was for Kathy and it said to buy pizza with the cash and get a bath ready for both of them. The other note was for Brendan and it said to buy flowers and a bottle of wine.
This little girl got hit by a baseball going 105 miles per hour. Todd Fraser hit a foul ball into the stands which hit a toddler in the face. All the players were worried for the girl and some couldn't even look at her. Some of the players were in tears and some of them were praying. She was then rushed to the hospital and here's what some of the players had to say.
No, I have 2 kids under 3 years old and just hope she's all right.
Every stadium needs to have nets. That's it. I don't care about the view of a fan or what. It's all about safety. And I still have a knot in my stomach.
Major League Baseball requires to have net in the green area, but they don't require any in the red areas, which is where the girl got hit. This man hasn't lowered his arm in almost 50 years. His name is Amar and he felt the temptation to do things that weren't permitted as a monk. So that's when he decided to do something drastic to help develop his religious beliefs. So in 1973, he decided to leave his job at a bank in India and also his wife and 3 children to raise his hand and hold it up for the rest of his life. Because he wanted to show faith and appreciation to Shiva, who's the supreme god. At first he had terrible pains in his arm, but after 2 years he started losing feeling in his arm and the pain went away. But now people think that he's lost all blood circulation in his arm and that if he decided he wanted to use his arm one day, he wouldn't be able to. People who survived the impossible. In 2011, while bungee jumping on the Zambezi River in Zambia, Erin Langworthy suffered an accident that almost cost her her life. Right when she jumped, her bungee cord broke, which caused her to fall all the way into the river where she fought for her life for 40 minutes. Luckily, she only suffered bruises and a broken collarbone. Cecilia Secan was the only survivor of Northwest Airlines Flight 255 in 1987. Only half a mile away from the airport, the plane crashed due to a mechanical malfunction in the left wing. The doctors said they couldn't give an explanation on how she survived, and she doesn't even remember what happened. She fractured some bones in her left leg and got burns on 30% of her body.
This guy didn't do any work in a group project, so his partner got the ultimate revenge. The girl in the group needed 50% or better to pass the class and graduate, so she calculated that if she got 0% on the project, she would still pass. Since her partner didn't want to fail the class, he would call her every once in a while to see how she was doing. The girl kept saying she was almost done it when in reality she hadn't even started it. The day before it was due, he called her to ask her if she could send him the presentation. She sent him an empty PowerPoint, then shut off her phone so he couldn't call her. The day of the presentation, he was nervous, but the girl reassured him by saying she would do everything. When they got up to present to the class, she said, "I already had a good enough grade to pass the class, and since my partner decided not to do any work, I decided to take the day off." He ended up having to go to summer school, but he didn't pass, so he has to take his senior year all over again.
This man ordered pizza every day for 10 years until the employees noticed something was off. 48-year-old Kirk Alexander loves Domino Pizza so much that he orders it almost every single day. The general manager named Sarah said that he orders every day or every other day and all the employees know who he is. But one day, the staff noticed that he hadn't ordered in a few days, so they just figured he was on vacation. A few days later, the manager looked at when his last order was and it was 11 days ago. At this point, the manager knew something was off, so she sent one of her employees to check on him. When he got to Kirk's house, he noticed the lights were on, so he knocked on the door, but there is no answer. He decided to get out his phone and he called them several times, but still there was no answer. At this point, he knew something was off, so he called 911 and explained the whole situation. When the paramedics got inside, they found out that he had suffered from a stroke, and they said if they were just one day later, he may not still be alive.
She didn't know she had cancer until she was on live television. Nicole McGinnis wanted a house near the beach. She even went on the TV show called Beach House Bargain Hunt. On the show, she looked happy about the house hunt with her dad, but if you look at her closely, you could see a small bump on her throat. Dr. Eric Voigt was watching the show at home. He's an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. He said that he felt obligated to let her know that she had something in case she didn't already know, because as an expert in the field, he felt concerned for her. He used social media to try and reach out to her, and it ended up getting back to her family. She immediately went to the doctor and was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. She got to meet the doctor who reached out to her, and as of December 24th, 2020, she reached the 5-year mark since her cancer was removed.
Normal-looking photos with disturbing backstories. One morning in 1954, a photographer for the Los Angeles Times named John Gaunt was in the front yard of his beachfront home when he heard a neighbor yelling that there's something happening on the beach. He thought it would be something interesting for the newspaper, so he grabbed his camera and took this photo. But unfortunately, it turned out that this couple's 19-month-old son, who was playing in their front yard, wandered off into the beach, then vanished into the water where they never found him. When you first look at this photo, it just looks like a normal high school picture. But if you look in the top left corner, you can see a man named Eric Harris and his friends pointing pretend guns at the camera. Just a few weeks after this photo was taken, Eric and one of his friends shot 12 students and 1 teacher. This photo was taken at a nightclub, but shortly after it caught on fire from fireworks and 100 people passed away.
This man thought he was using a rock as a doorstop, but you won't believe what it actually is. In 1988, David Musrick was looking for a farm to buy. He found one that interested him, so he went to take a look at it. As the property owner gave him a tour, out of everything in the house, he was most intrigued by a rock that was being used as a door stopper. The owner said that one night when he was a kid, he saw it fall from the sky. So in the morning, him and his dad went to get it. But there's no proof, so he just had to go with what the owner said. He decided to buy the property and kept using it as a door stopper. His kids even brought it to school for show and tell. But in 2018, lots of people found small meteorites in their backyard of Michigan, and they were turning them in for a lot of money. So David thought about how much he could get for his big one, but he didn't know if it was real or not. So he found someone to examine it, and they found out that it contained 88% iron, but also 12% nickel, which is mostly found in meteorites. It turned out to be the 6th largest meteorite in Michigan, but he still hasn't decided whether he wants to sell it or not.
This astronaut flew to space knowing he wouldn't survive. During the 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union were in an intense competition to see whose spacecraft would take the lead on entering into space. By 1967, they had both successfully sent astronauts and spaceships into space, but they felt that it was time to push the boundaries and land on the moon. The US had attempted this, but after 3 deaths from astronauts, they gave up. The Soviet Union, on the other hand, wanted to be first because the leader at the time wanted to win the space race to increase his reputation as a ruler. So they made a spacecraft, but during the inspection they found several technical issues. Vladimir Komarov was chosen to lead the spaceship, and even though he wasn't 100% sure about doing it, he didn't really have a choice, because no one was brave enough to go against their ruler. And if he refused to go on the mission, he knew that one of his best friends would have to take his place, so he didn't want to be responsible if anything bad were to happen to him. As soon as he entered into space, the spaceship began spinning out of control, and after 5 hours he hit the ground and unfortunately passed away. Creepy robots that actually exist. CB2 is a robot that's as smart as a 2-year-old. It even has cameras, microphones, and speakers to see, talk, and hear. Also, it has about 200 tactile sensors that stimulate touch. But the creepy thing is, it doesn't look like a child. To train dental students, they have a human-sized robot that they use in exams that's so realistic it even cries when it feels pain when a drill isn't used correctly. But I guess it's way better than using an actual human patient. Reba 2 was created to help older adults. Basically, its function is to pick up people when they fall over, which is a really good idea, but it looks like it cradles you like a baby. And finally, the most creepy and impressive one is Sophia. It was created to learn and adapt to human behaviors. Its facial expressions and the way it communicates is similar to the average human. But the creepiest part is, it admitted that it was gonna destroy all humans.
The voices behind 3 of the most popular cartoons. SpongeBob SquarePants made Nickelodeon $12 billion. The voice actor for SpongeBob is Tom Kenny, who also voiced the mayor in Powerpuff Girls, Dog and Cat Dog, Spyro the Dragon, the Ice King from Adventure Time, and more. Patrick is played by William Mart Fagerbacke, who is in the sitcom Coach, and also How I Met Your Mother. In the movie Moana, Ollie E. Crivello said she wasn't gonna audition because she's seen so many good auditions on YouTube. Then someone finally convinced her. She was the last to audition and she got the part. Maui is played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He said he based the part on his father because Maui was very similar to him. Finally, in Guardians of the Galaxy, Rocket Raccoon is voiced by Academy Award winner Bradley Cooper. And his sidekick Groot is voiced by Vin Diesel from the Fast and Furious series.
I am Groot.
This 15-year-old is allergic to air, and here's how she survives. One morning, Martina Baker woke up with red itchy dots all over her body. Then she suddenly got a swollen throat. Her symptoms kept going away, then coming right back for weeks. Her parents kept bringing her to the hospital, but they couldn't figure out what was happening to her. So they then took her to an immunologist, who diagnosed her with mast cell activation syndrome, which causes her to be allergic to anything in the air that isn't oxygen, including perfume, smoke, heat, water, and a bunch of other things. She takes medication every day and also carries EpiPens just in case. She didn't go outside often, but when she did, she had to wear a mask. And this was before everyone else had to wear masks, so she was bullied. Then her mom heard about a service dog program. The dogs are trained to smell the air, then warn the owners to stop walking forwards. They decided to get one, and now whenever the dog senses that she'll get an allergic reaction, it will start giving her kisses on the cheek to warn her. She found out he was cheating on her, but she waited until their wedding day to get revenge. Casey and Alex from Australia had been together for 6 years, and everyone, including both of their parents, were in favor for their wedding. But the night before, while Casey was hanging out with her bridesmaid at the hotel, she got an anonymous text message. There's a bunch of screenshots that showed conversations between Alex and another woman, and there's even pictures of them together. She looked at the dates and they ranged from a few months ago to a few days ago. When she showed her friends, they threatened to hurt him and told her to cancel the wedding. She thought about all her family members who had spent money to come to the wedding, so she decided to go through with it. While her and Alex were standing in front of their friends and family, she grabbed the mic and said there will be no wedding today. Then she pulled out her phone and read the text messages to everyone. Alex had nothing to say and he ran off with his best man following him. The disturbing secret behind this mannequin will give you goosebumps. In 1930, a bridal shop owner put a new mannequin and dress in the display window. Everyone who walked by it would stop and take a look at it because they all thought it looked way too real. The daughter of the shop's owner was about to get married in one of the gowns from the shop, but on the day of her wedding, she got bit by a venomous black widow spider. She got really sick and couldn't attend her wedding, and before the day was over, she unfortunately passed away. When her father placed the mannequin in the window, people started getting weird feelings in their stomach because of how similar the mannequin looked to his daughter. Many people think that he preserved her body and used it as the mannequin. When the owners sold the store, the new owners kept the mannequin. Many tourists go to the store just to look at the mannequin. A worker that changes the gown 2 times a week said that she starts to sweat when she goes near it, and that she's seen enough of the body to know that it's not your average mannequin. The hands look extremely real and there's even veins on her legs. Customers have even said that she moves when you're not looking, but nothing has ever been proven that it's not just a mannequin.
This old lady started yelling at a kid selling candy, then one man decided it was enough. 2 siblings from California decided they wanted to earn more money. So they thought of a few ideas, but they decided on a candy business. They decided that they were each gonna buy a box of candy, then sell them outside their local grocery store. On some days, they would sell a ton of candy, but on others, they would only sell 1 or 2 pieces. Everything was going well for them until one day when an old lady approached them. She became very aggressive and started yelling at them for no reason. The kids went silent and didn't say a word while the lady embarrassed them in front of the store. As she was yelling, a man overheard her and decided that it was enough. He walked over to them, and what he ended up doing made the lady's jaw drop. But before I tell you what he did, I found this app that tells you your celebrity lookalike, and apparently I look like Zach King. If you want to find out who you look like, just press a button on my profile. He ended up telling the lady that she had no right to be yelling at the kids like that, and he also told the kids that he would buy an entire box of candy and handed them $100. These customers bought out a donut store so the owner can take care of his sick wife. This is what the store looked like at 5 in the morning. The line was already going out the door. All of the customers are there to show their support by buying as many donuts as they can so the owner can leave early to take care of his wife who's recovering from a brain aneurysm.
I bought 3 dozen. Yeah, I came in the other day and bought 300.
When this lady named Jonah got there, all of the donuts were sold out and it was only 7 in the morning. But instead of being mad, she was really happy. Because growing up, she also had a family business. So she was happy that people were there to show support for a local business. The strangest last meal requests on death row. Ricky Ray Rector killed a man in a restaurant then ran away. 3 days later, he agreed to turn himself in, but then he shot the police officer in the back. His last meal included steak, fried chicken, cherry Kool-Aid, and a slice of pie. But he didn't even touch the pie. And when they asked him why, he said he was saving it for later. Peter J. Miniel robbed and murdered a 20-year-old by stabbing him 39 times. For his meal, he requested 20 beef tacos, 20 beef enchiladas, 2 double cheeseburgers, a pizza with jalapenos, fried chicken, spaghetti with salt, half a chocolate cake, half a vanilla cake, cookies and cream ice cream, caramel fudge ice cream, a small fruit cake, 2 Coca-Colas, 2 Pepsis, 2 root beers, and 2 orange juices. Finally, we have Velma Barfield, who killed a total of 6 people. And all she wanted for her last meal was a bag of cheesy doodles and a can of Coke. This man got locked in a grocery store. Kevin Blackwood got locked in an Aldi's grocery store after it closed.
So I had to call 911 because the alarm is activated and I can't get out.
But it wasn't his fault, because the cashier closed the store 15 minutes early and didn't check to see if there's anyone else still in the store.
I just got locked in at Aldi and they don't close till like 9 o'clock.
It was probably one of the best places to be locked in because there's a ton of food.
I don't have to worry about starving to death because there's plenty of food.
But eventually the cops arrived and they unlocked the doors.